Whoa.
People give their wishes to me, and I grant the wishes I am sure are good for Rosas.
Some of these will never be granted.
Not some, most.
They deserve more than...
I decide what everyone deserves.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
Okay, we're finally covering the actual Wish movie from Disney. For real this time.
Now this quickly infamous movie was meant to celebrate the Walt Disney Company's 100-year anniversary alongside the Once Upon a Time studio short.
Yep.
Well, Wish is basically Disney's very own original fairy tale, they claim.
Yeah, which is not a bad idea.
In the kingdom of Rosas, and everything seems happy,
And
they
great.
claim, until she finds out King Magnifico is keeping everyone's wishes locked up in his castle, they claim.
Yes.
She wishes on a star, they claim.
They
This
claim.
will save her family and kingdom, and the star, not to be confused with the Starboy,
Right.
itself answers the call, they claim. Hearing this idea alone, it sounds like it was going to be an incredibly fun and unique idea for a Disney movie. Too freaking bad they didn't do that.
Before we start all that, be sure to like, subscribe, and click notifications on future podcasts and World of Pause videos.
Yes, and thank you for joining us for this special review.
Yes.
Because you've been asking for it.
Yes.
And we're going to be
Finally.
100% honest. We're always honest, but 1,000,000,000% honest.
Yeah.
On this
Oh
one.
boy,
So,
it's a lot.
If you love the wish that you got and you don't want to hear any naughtiness,
Go
we recommend
some-
that you
to another
go
video.
ahead and watch another one of our videos.
Yeah.
Okay, first,
So-
full disclosure, I really wanted to like this movie.
Me too.
I really wanted to be wrong.
Me too, especially after Once Upon a Studio.
Yes, and I was hoping, okay, we're going to see it now, and we're going to see there's some bright spots. We're going to see there's something to love about it. We're going to see it wasn't so bad as claimed.
Like we've done in the past. We found 3 movies where it wasn't as bad.
But that didn't happen.
Unfortunately.
Because this is not a great movie.
When we've had that with Ruby Gillman, Shazam 2, Black Adam, like, hey, they're not as bad as people saying we like them.
This
What's
was
the
equivalent to the Full Metal Alchemist live action movies.
Yes, and back when this first came out, people, including us, were excited for it back in November. And the warning says that not that many people went to see it in November because no one's going to go out on Thanksgiving to go see a Disney movie. And it just did sort of okay. Like, people didn't go, oh my gosh, this is great. It was just like, huh, it's alright. That's alright. And that was it. Like, that's odd.
And for those of you who keep claiming that haters, and we're not haters, we just like the concept better, are responsible for low views at the theater. Well, this came out in November of 2023. We didn't learn about, or, well, I shouldn't say that. We didn't watch any of the content and different things until January.
Yeah.
So 6 months ago this came out. It's been 6 months. The movie has still today only garnered $254 million.
What?
And not a penny more. So you
What?
can't blame anyone talking about how they love the concept now for the failure in November.
Right,
because it was impossible for that to happen because the concept art wasn't released until months later as well.
yeah, that's correct. And they have released, and they had the art book for sale, like, not long before the movie came out because people really like to have the movie and the art
Well,
book.
that was really dumb.
And then, but they didn't think this was going to happen. No one saw this coming. And we're like, oh, here's a companion book. Like, we like to read about how these movies came about after it comes out. And at first, like, okay, I bought it. And no one read it until after the movie came out. Like, okay, I don't want to be spoiled. And then the movie came out. And like, oh, it was okay. It was all right. Some hated it, but some was just like, okay. Only a few people said, oh, it was wonderful and all that. And then there was a post by Animation on Twitter, who I follow, and posted stuff from the concept art book and showed that the movie was an entirely different movie altogether. And that's when it first snowballed into this effect. And it spiraled into an entire, it opened the floodgates to a bunch of people just either in mourning or what have you done?
That was one of the dumbest things Disney could have ever done. Most studios release the books after the release of the actual media.
Right.
But they thought they were going to jump on the game, like they put all this merchandise in stores that ended up in the bargain bin and
within
discounted
weeks,
and not
yeah.
selling. They released the book. That's the worst thing they could have done prior to the movie, because it's like saying, hey, here's Pepe Le Pew, but you would have gotten Gojo Satoru.
Right.
And that's how it goes.
Yep. And it was like a slow effect because they saw the movie. It just kind of was doing nothing. It was just there, and people were kind of getting used to it. After that tweet came out, it just, again, it exploded. It exploded because people were like, they saw that originally that the star you see, in case you didn't know somehow, the little plush star wasn't a plushy star, looked like a Luma from Mario. It was actually a shape-shifting Starboy.
And the doll looks like Tanjiro punched in the eye. I think, in fairness, let's note the few things about it.
The movie,
that
yes.
did work.
Yes.
It's not going to be a long list, so don't hold your breath.
Right, so
And one thing was
the voice cast, especially Chris Pine as Magnifico. He was
Absolutely.
probably the best performer of the whole cast.
And the cast includes Ariana DeBose, Chris Pine, Alan Tudyk, Angelique Cabral, Victor Garba, who was also great, Natasha Rothwell, Jennifer Komiyama, Harry Guillen, Evan Peters, Rami Youssef, and John Rudnitsky. So we're going to give a shout out to them.
Right.
Now, granted, the majority of these people we aren't familiar with.
Not
honestly.
really. We know Victor Garber, Chris Pine, Alan Tudyk. The rest, not so much. Though I've heard they've been in other musical projects.
And the second thing is, and unfortunately the concept, I'm going to say concept songs were better. The music writings of 2 out of 3, Julia Michaels and Benjamin Rice. And not only their writings, but their performances for the songs that were scrapped. Oh my gosh, those songs were awesome. And what we get in the movie is like, it's
not finished.
Yes, an unfinished version of what could have been. So we're going to say the music wasn't bad. But the problem is, prior to what they chose to cut out of the movie and make them change the lyrics to, the music was awesome.
Yeah,
so that's
the
the only reason
soundtrack.
we're going to give the music any credit.
Right, the soundtrack, when you take out the lyrics to all the songs, the melodies sound good, they sound fun, they sound like, hey, these are pretty upbeat songs. They're pop songs, but it's like, they did a good job in that. They get to the lyrics and you're wondering,
Were you high?
yeah, and considering they only had a few weeks to get the songs done, that might explain it. We even saw at one point in the documentary that the Star song, "Watch Your World, Here I Are," no one fixed that. No one fixed that crap. It's like they had 3 weeks to do it, and it was so bad that Julia Michaels actually said when they were told what the song's supposed to be, that everyone's connected by stardust. That's why Star came down. She said, "But are we though?" They didn't even believe what they told them.
The third thing is, the movie was only 95 minutes.
Yes.
And that was truly a blessing. Because 2 hours I never would have sat through it.
I think we would just turned it off.
I'm sorry.
At least we didn't turn it off like Strange World.
The fourth best thing about this movie, and I'm going to latch on to that before I get to the final one, is the deleted scenes, because you get to see all the abandoned concepts and the beauty that would have been part of this movie, and it's a joy to sit and see.
Yeah, definitely.
Not only what we could have gotten, but even seeing some of the other things that weren't so great that were eliminated. That was interesting in terms of the artwork.
Right. And there was so much in there. We were surprised how much was just cut out.
And we're going to give you a video on pictures and footage of that concept art from the DVD special features. Give us a week or two and we'll have it up for you.
Right. And as you're watching the movie, and this is before we even watched it, people have said that when they watched it, some of them felt like something was missing when they saw it. The ones that weren't all into it. And even with us knowing about the concept and everything, we went in it just like, okay, put that aside and just watch it for what it is. Give it a fair chance.
Absolutely.
And to tell you the truth, I felt nothing during this movie. I didn't feel joy watching it. I didn't feel sadness. I wasn't even angry watching it. It was like, there was nothing. There was nothing to this movie when I watched it. And now I get where Bennett and other people said, it feels like someone was taken out of this movie and you're watching something with a hole in it.
And unfortunately, the couple times I laughed is when I was laughing at how poorly something was done.
Right. I laughed one
that's
time.
Unfortunate. It really is. Now, the best thing about this movie is someone who doesn't appear on screen and who his ideas were whittled down to nothing is Bob.
No, Bill. Bill Schwab. Bill Schwab.
Okay, sorry. Bill Schwab. This man deserves an Oscar for his concept work alone. This man is brilliant, and he's very cooperative and congenial.
Yeah.
Because if this had been my work, and they had chopped it down from being this giant statue to this little bitty Funko, I probably would have lost my mind.
Yeah,
So you have to give this man credit for keeping his mouth shut, for doing what he was told, for trying to keep his job, because you know that's what it was about.
Yeah.
But this man, along with Benjamin Rice and Julia Michaels with the song, are geniuses.
Yeah. And we don't even blame the songwriters for the lyrics. They were given a short time, and the instructions were not clear. And when they tell us what they were told, no wonder that the songs sound, outside of the music itself, the lyrics don't sound all that great, because there wasn't enough time for them to correct things and change it and probably fit into the movie. They just kind of had whatever they finished the first time, they throw it in.
So, let's get to the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back to a little more of our analysis.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big part right here with the characters.
Let's go with Asha straight away. This version of Asha isn't likable. I'm very sorry.
And
I'm
didn't
very
want to say
sorry.
that.
She
Yeah.
is not likable. The one in the concept art had personality.
And the lead
She
of
was
scenes.
fun. She was intelligent. She was cooperative. She didn't mind getting help and also helping herself. She seemed to get along with her Saba better and her mom. The Asha in the movie, especially when she was at the table with them and she told Saba about his wish never coming to pass, she was very disrespectful. And then she got angry because the Saba said, "Why would you tell me that it's not going to come to pass?"
Right.
And she got angry at him. This is a 100-year-old man who had a right to his opinion. And the right thing for the writers to have done for this character is to let her sit down and shut her freaking mouth and let Saba say how he felt. Then say, "I'm sorry," and move on. But
the
made
movie.
her argumentative, disrespectful.
Sorry.
No, having no what's the word I'm looking
decency.
for?
I don't know.
No empathy. No empathy for the position he was in, and she's selfish. And she was the problem for everything that happened in the movie.
And we didn't want to go there.
I'm going there. We're going to be 100% honest.
And we really felt like these people have got to be just really being harsh and too much on it, like we've seen in other movies. Like, there's no way it can be that bad, even for Disney. And we watched and it's like, these people were right. We could not believe that they were right about this. And absolutely. It even goes into about Magnifico.
Before we get to Magnifico, one more thing about Asha. Who in their right mind, no matter what age, goes to get a job, applies, and then starts complaining and criticizing the employer who's going to hire them?
Sounds
who
about
wrote this crap.
I don't even know who did that.
And then she was stupid enough, I'm sorry, there's no other word,
sorry,
to actually think she was going to get the job, and then it dawns on her at the end like, well, obviously you're not going to get this job.
Nope.
And even if Magnifico was supposed to be the villain, he wasn't a villain there. Who in his right mind would hire someone that tears down the company, his practices, what he's doing,
and
tells
it's working,
him that she can do better? Nobody would hire anyone like that, especially a 16-year-old. And they wrote this character like this.
Right. And then you read the book and she's nothing like this.
So Jennifer Lee, I'm blaming you. Chris
this
Buck,
is a group
I'm blaming
effort.
you. Allison Moore, I'm blaming you.
Ooh.
Von Vera Sinthorn, I'm blaming you.
Oh boy, here we go.
You need to not write any more female
16-year-old
characters because you clearly don't understand.
Oh no, here we go.
What a 16-year-old girl would act like, behave
Here she goes.
like, and you don't understand how people relate to each other on a personal level.
Oh no.
This was crap.
Yeah.
And she didn't have to be like this because we saw the concept art.
And she was
we
based.
heard the dialogue and we heard the script, and it was a bazillion times better than what we got in this movie.
And the princesses they based her off of were ones that did have self-drive, but still innocence, determination. They still helped. They had cooperation, like they had Tiana and Rapunzel and Alice and others. So they picked, Bill Schwab had picked the right princesses to take the personalities from and traits and give to Asha as accumulation, but they didn't follow any of it. They just stuck with quirky, doing this, activists and all that, and then we find out Disney's been doing this trait for so long, they refuse to switch it up and have a different personality trait. And now people are kind of tired of it, especially with this movie, and she basically got Star's personality, what he had originally, and was given to her. Then they drop it like partway through the movie, and suddenly she's more serious. It's like, well, now she's two different characters in here too.
And last, so we can move on, is how she was drawn. You see the beautiful concept art, and you see the hairstyles, and she clearly, I'm sorry, had a more brown skin tone.
Well, yeah, in North Africa.
And they didn't give her a princess dress. She got sparkles on a freaking dress.
Oh gosh, why?
She had so much more emotion and depth and beauty in the concept art. And then you turn around and you try to make her look ambiguous for everybody. And it's like, but you're supposed to have a character who's mixed. A character who's a half a, like they say in anime.
Right.
And then you try to make her so, well, we're going to make her look nondescript. And we're going to give her a lighter skin tone. And we didn't understand why when in the original art you put out that was on Twix, she was much more brown. And the artwork itself was absolutely beautiful.
And imagine this.
And it looked like something that wasn't real. And I was so excited because I really thought Disney's going to do something different.
Finally,
they're gonna give us a different type of princess that goes along with all the others they have in their repertoire. And you look forward to Disney giving you different princes representing different people, cultures,
right, all together
over the world. And you look forward to it, but on this one, they dropped the ball. This didn't represent anybody. She was nondescript, no personality, and I'm going to stop there. So now we'll go to Magnifico, as you mentioned.
And this was another controversial part of the movie because Disney advertised Magnifico as the return of the classic Disney villain. He was just going to be the bad guy through and through. No redemption arc, no twist villain, no generational trauma, just straight up villain. Okay, good to hear. Then we watched the movie, and he's not even a villain in half the film.
The wife, clearly Amaya, appears to be the villain, who also was done like Asha. When you see the concept art, which should be coming up now, of Magnifico and Amaya, they were much more brown. Why do I point this out? Because when we first got the concept presented to us on Twitter, like a year before it came out, they made the point of saying it was going to represent this group of people.
Yeah.
And again, people were happy for it.
You were like,
just
wow,
like we were happy for every other Disney princess that came out. Okay, it's going to be a different one. This is fantastic in an area of the world they've never done with. Okay, done one with, I should say. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
And then you get Magnifico and Amaya, and they have been washed as well. And you don't understand why. You don't understand why. And I think for me, that is why I'm pointing it out. Why would you do that after promising the entire world this is what's going to be represented, showing the concept art? And I know concept things can be changed.
Right.
But you don't expect them to change the people in terms of shades and whom they're representing. You expect that maybe they look a little different, or a change in hairstyle, or a change in the environment or something. But these, Asha was just different. She really was different.
Yeah.
And Magnifico also, because he could have been one of the most memorable Disney villains ever.
Yeah.
But he's not.
And that was really disappointing because people were really looking forward to have a big, bad Disney movie villain again. And people have said, he's technically not the villain. You just force him to be the villain. And we were like, okay, that's pretty dumb even for Disney. There's no way they were that bad. And we kept hearing review after review and take after take. Okay, let's just watch for ourselves. Pay attention to the movie because some said they're wrong and he is the villain. So let's watch. So the thing for Magnifico Originally, he was evil, so was his wife, and they had a little pet cat. Here, changed all that. Only Magnifico's evil. He's the sole villain of this. Like, okay. So what he does in here, originally, no, just stick with this. He takes the people's wishes when they turn 18 and willingly do it, but they don't remember what they wish for, and he keeps them in his castle, kind of just up there floating around. And they have a wish ceremony every once a month. Someone gets their wish granted, and the dreams come true. Whatever they desire will come true. He grants it in front of everybody, and they do that in exchange. He lets them live here for free and doesn't charge them rent. That's the same thing, but I guess he's want to tell you that he means it. He welcomes everybody from all over the world. He doesn't ask really much of them. He kind of lets them do what they want. They can sing, they can dance, and everything.
It's footloose.
And they can sing, dance, whatever they want. It's yours. And it's like, and then when it gets to the part of Asha wanting him to grant the grandfather's wish, he claims that it looks like a nice idea. He wants to inspire people, the next generation. He said that is a great wish, but it's too vague. What could this inspire? It could inspire revolt, rebellion. It could inspire good and bad. So I'm not even sure if I should grant this because of the consequences after. And you really think about it, it's like, he has a point. He has a point because they don't show it, but yeah, we know people out there could wish for some horrible things to happen to other people, and unfortunately, on their mind. Right. The bad wishes get eaten, and there you go. But they made it sound like he was in the wrong. But most people would keep looking, check the wishes and make sure, because grants them, what chaos would they reign if you gave them that power? But the movie frames like he's selfish and evil and keeping people from taking their dreams and going for it, but he's doing what most people would do.
And two more things about Magnifico. One, they made him not likable. Now, if they wanted the people to love him, and then,
like they were determined of that.
And then find out that they were betrayed, they should have left more. They should have given more personality and more depth. Yeah. He didn't have enough depth, and that was the problem. When I say likable, I don't hate Magnifico. So let me explain this very quickly.
Yes, please.
They should have made him likable in the sense that as soon as you saw him, and not just on looks, you fell in love with the king, and he's a wonderful king, kind of like the king from Tangled. Yeah. They could have done that and then flipped the script, and then you find out he's a villain. Exactly. And that would have been a wonderful way to give that dichotomy. Right. But they didn't do that. They made him nondescript. And the second thing is, he could have been much more evil if they really wanted evil based on what you saw in the concept art. He was freaking evil. Not only with his wife, but when they showed the alternate end scene, or I should say the concept end scene, this guy was a bad guy. Yes. He was a bad fella. Right. And you would have gotten the point that he was pretending all along to be nice. Right, which they actually say in there. Duh. So they could have just done that, but the writers didn't. They gave us something watered down. So let's go now to Amaya, because that's another one that was disappointing in terms of character. We do know that some people like her as she is. That's okay. Right. But when you say you're going to give us villains that are memorable, Amaya and Magnifico's concepts were memorable. Yes. They were something that it was a twist. You've only seen rarely. You've seen Morticia and Gomez. Yeah. You've seen Camilla and Tony Soprano. You've seen Team Rocket. And you can name them on one hand because it's not something that the franchises really want to give you. This would have made Disney a standout. It would have put them back on the map. It would have put them on the map as being creative and trailblazers and setting the standards for every other movie that comes out by other studios trying to compete with them. Yes. This was it. This couple was it. Yes, absolutely, because people love the idea. This would have been the very first Disney villain power couple. They've never had one. They've had an evil male, evil female, but never a villain couple. They've shipped Maleficent and Hades together, but that's not in a movie. That's like in spin-offs and things. Right. This
would have been huge because they've done something, they have never done this before, and they pulled off so well in the concepts. It was like they were back to being the classic villains that people really loved, that they've watched for decades. Like, this was it.
And what really would have been fantastic about that is, despite all this evilness and delicious evilness,
Right.
you could tell in the concept animatics and the dialogue and the performances by the placeholders,
Right.
they should have never been placeholders. They should have been the
People
voice
really
actors.
loved them.
And nothing
Yeah.
against Chris Pine. We actually love Chris Pine.
Yeah,
in
he
many
was.
movies. But these two had a chemistry that was coming across
It
in
was
the
like-
animatics. And if they had used them and had gone with this, again, these would have been two characters that would have been history-making and memorable, and would have had Disney making money for years to come.
Yes.
Not just 6 months, not just a year, but people would have been wanting more of this. I could see spin-off movie for them, an origin story of them.
Yes.
So much more for them. And again, going back to the concept of, because that's where the money is.
And
You could have seen genuine spin-off movies for these other characters.
yes, you could, because there was just so much to them. And I think the fact that Amaya was so ingrained in being a villain that when they changed her to being a good person, it didn't hit for a lot of people. And we saw she was even a villain, and Magnifico was good at one point before they said, let's make them both villains, and then downgraded the
But
process.
to me in here, I think she was a fake good queen. And I'm going to
That's
say
what
what
I
I
feel
mean.
like.
Because one, she was siding with the teenagers against her husband. Two, she made no attempt to really stop him from using that book.
No.
She made a weak, oh, hey, don't do that. You said you wouldn't use it.
Right.
And I read on Twitter a post where someone said if she had gone over, grabbed her man, and kissed him, he wouldn't have done it. But
Right.
no,
It's like,
because
really?
again, Jennifer Lee,
Right.
Von Thorn,
And
Allison
some
Moore,
others.
hate love, hate joy,
Ooh!
and you could see the love between them in the concept animatic.
Yes,
They
they
loved
just-
each other, even though they were
crazy
crazy
as
to
heck.
the core. They genuinely loved each other, but she didn't love him in this version. She didn't try to stop him. And then when he got trapped, and he's like, "Help me get out," and she looked like him, "Oh, dude, no, this is my kingdom now." And she left him and put on the crown and took over.
And someone
Where
said-
does that say love to any of you?
And someone-
Explain to us in the comments, please.
And someone said, you sure? And people thought that she a plot twist villain at the very end. Like, oh, wow. And like, oh, no. She's just good now.
No, she's
And
not.
what's even worse,
Sorry, she's
even
not.
worse, is that you have this married couple. You haven't had one Disney movie in a little bit like this. And how bad is it where the married couple couldn't even stay married, whether villain or hero or whatever? They didn't even get to stay together. She just left her husband at the end. Oh, and it even made an excuse. Oh, once they open the book and they open something magic, that's it. You can't fix it. There's no remedy. There is no cure. He's dark now.
And
they just
every
accept
Disney
this.
movie you've had prior to whatever this is going on, they try to save people. So she made no attempt to save him. And if Asha
Right.
was this good character who really didn't mean Magnifico any harm, she would have said, well, let's try to save him. If we save him and reverse it, then maybe he won't be evil and this can straighten out. No.
Right.
She and Asha,
And Star.
and Amaya seemed like they were working together to take over the kingdom.
Like, is this a
That's the
villain
way
story?
it seemed by the end of the movie.
And the reason why we haven't brought up Star is because
That's next, last.
Yeah, it's because Star does nothing. What was the point? Asha does everything because they were so intent on not Star being overpowered. Asha does pretty much 90% of the movie work, and Amaya does the other whatever percentage, and the teens and everything. There was no point anymore.
So now that you've mentioned Star, let's mention him as one of the final characters because it's clear in the trailers and everything else that these are the main characters. They kind of just, everyone else was secondary or didn't matter.
Yeah.
And not because we're saying it, but because how it was presented to us in trailers and teasers and things. So we get to Star. Anybody knows who's listened to any of us on that
Yep, for the start.
We love Starboy. And we love the Starboy Asha ship that originally was going to be given to us. With that said, we end up getting this featureless,
It's a Luma.
mindless,
Plushie, marketable
nothing
plushie.
that's supposed to be endearing and adorable, and he's not. And he could have been, because in the not deleted scenes.
Yes,
in
it
the,
is.
No, in the behind the scenes, when Bill was explaining his idea for drawing Star, the face that they keep claiming is Mickey ears, he says very clearly in the extra footage that it's a heart.
Yes,
Because he wants you to know he's full of love.
from
And
the
they
very
keep
beginning.
saying,
It's
and in the
Mickey's
same breath, here comes one of these women going, I don't remember which one, I don't know her name and don't care.
Oh,
No,
it's Mickey's face.
ears,
It's his face.
And then he says again, it's a heart. And then she says again, it's Mickey's face. So they're saying, shut up, Bill. You want to represent love. No love, no
Come
joy, no hope.
on.
And in the animatics, Star has so many expressions and
As
his face is like
the plush,
rubber.
yes.
And if they had kept that and kept this little Star
And the character
had made
arc.
him about love and had made him about having expressions and being really involved, then you at least would have liked him. Even if you were mourning for Starboy, you still would have liked the Star.
Yes.
But they made him nondescript. That's the word I was looking for.
Nondescript?
He's nondescript, and it's just nothing going on with him. It's disappointing that this is what they wanted millions of people around the world to buy.
And
as
they
a
said-
plushie, and children to look up to as inspiration. Inspiration of what?
And it kept saying, oh, he's got the face of Mickey and it reminds them of Walt because he had poses like him. I did not even understand Walt Disney was involved in his creation to the slightest. I'm going to be very honest. I didn't get Walt Disney. I didn't even know that was Mickey's face.
Not at all.
And what's even more disappointing is that you could tell even Plushie Star, they were trying to keep some type of semblance of character to him, even if he couldn't transform into a human anymore. They were going to give him a character arc where Star was going to learn why wishes are important to humans. And Star would end up changing in the course of the movie with Asha, learning humanity basically, learning what it is to be human, learning about wishes and why they mean so much to people, and his physical form was going to start looking slightly human because he was getting more involved with humans and was wanting to look human as the movie progressed. That was another idea pitched. So Star Plush was going to have a character arc in there, but they didn't want to do that because they didn't want any semblance of a human in there. So they went from a Starboy to a shape-shifting Peter Pan-esque Starboy, shape-shifting Peter as Starboy to animal, plushy, human, talking, singing, and then down to a plushie only. With no arc, no talking, no singing, nothing. Just make some sparkle, sparky, boom, man, and make some things talk. And it's so watered down, and they thought this was the best idea. And even worse, when we watched the documentary, they actually pitched Starboy first. There weren't even other plans in the beginning. The first idea was, okay, let's have him turn to the boy. And they were trying to pitch it to, I think they said the directors or somebody, and they skipped a few people. So they told them to go back, and when they did, they immediately told them, oh, we knew for the Star, the human thing wasn't working. And it looks like they didn't want to keep the Star unless he didn't turn into a human or an animal or anything else. They wanted one design only. They didn't want the human form, period. And it's so slightly upsetting to see that they were determined they didn't want Starboy, period. They wanted a plush because it was easy to draw, and as they claim it represent Mickey and Walt. I didn't see that. I wanted the Peter Pan.
Them. It's called Walt Disney. Mickey is the mascot.
And
you didn't need that in the movie. Now they did have, as we saw in the special features, some Easter eggs. Well, put the Mickeys in the Easter eggs.
And that was the thing.
The Easter eggs. You didn't need Star to be representative of that. You needed him to be representative of a character that would be memorable, that would have relationships with other characters in the movie, that would represent what Walt Disney himself and the company was originally about: joy, love, friendship. But none of that came across.
No.
And they dropped the ball. And the last place they dropped the ball in this movie
is the goat.
Forget the goat. No, the backgrounds. Now, when you see the drawings, they are detailed, and the background drawings were absolutely beautiful and detailed.
Yes,
and then they had to screw it up with crappy cinematography and animation. not doing 2D. If they had done 2D, you could have
gosh.
seen the depth and the beauty of all the stuff that these artists drew. But they wanted to be flash and no substance.
They're trying to be like
And
Spider-Verse.
it doesn't look like anything when you're looking at it. You don't see all the depth and the beauty because they decided, oh, we're going to use 3D, but make it look 2D. How stupid does that sound?
Oh gosh! And
Why would you want to make 3D look 2D? Make 2D 2D. Make 3D 3D.
And what's even worse is that when you pause the movie, you can tell they almost did it. You have to pause the movie and zoom in on these characters. You can tell, like, hey, they do have a bit of 2D-ness to them. You could tell it's not 2D, but they have the fluidity of one in their detail. But you have to pause and zoom in so much that when you zoom out and play the film, it looks like it's normal 3D.
And if it had been beautiful and it had been 2D, I guarantee you, even with the AI-written script, even with the poor choice of making all these changes in the characters, if the animation had been 2D, Disney would have at least gotten an Oscar nomination for the animation itself.
Yes.
Because when you see that concept art, when you see the art in the book, and that being 2D drawn, they would have gotten a nomination. If for nothing else.
Just alone for that.
Absolutely. Now, the goat last, since you brought him up, the goat was better not talking. We saw what it was based on, little baby goats, and they were so cute. And we saw the original concepts, and they were so cute. And the goat was cute.
Oh my gosh!
Adorable, and I would have picked him up and held him, and I would have wanted a plushie of the original goat concept.
Yes.
But the one that they went with, sorry for you that love this goat, is annoying. And we love Island Tooting. But this did not work.
No.
The goat should have been silent to the end until he said, "Come to me, my friend!"
Yes! And that's what was so crazy. They kept advertising that was the funniest thing, and no one was really laughing. And it was like almost like they were doing like Donkey in a way, because think about Dreamers doing Donkey. He was a parody of Disney's Sidekick. He was an annoying talking animal sidekick. And then 20 years later, Disney makes an annoying animal sidekick and thinks that people are going to be in love with this character, and most people just can't wait for him to shut up. It was almost as bad as the teens who provided nothing to the movie.
So, there you have it. My grade for this movie is a D. I'm sorry, it's a D. I don't see any reason to score this movie any higher. It's not because I'm a witch. It's not because I hate Disney. It's not because I even hate Wish. There's no way you can say, guys, that we hate Wish when we're telling you the concept art and everything about it that was really Wish we love.
Yes.
How can you say that? It's impossible.
Even to the point where Mom first saw it. She first saw the concept, she said, what was wrong with what they had? And when she started seeing the Animatic puppet, when this first started generating, one of my favorite things she said is like, see, look how much better that is. He's so cute, and she's so cute, and they're so cute. Cute. They show me this crap. Why did you change it?
And there you have it. Why did they change it? One last thing that has to do with the people, and I'm sorry it has to be said. In the special features, they show the people who were responsible for making these changes. So we were kind of confused as to why they were chosen. And they had poor Bill just sitting there, kind of being silent. Like,
sometimes,
we want you to sit here and don't say anything because we're going to do all the talking.
And they really did.
And it was all about them. Me.
And their experience with Disney.
I.
And growing up with Disney. It's like, what about the people?
We didn't want to see that. We wanted to see more on the movie itself. It was a self-love fest for these people, and that made that part of the behind the scenes unenjoyable because it was all about them.
Yeah, because
and Jennifer
we
Lee,
barely
from what I
see
hear online, she's the major culprit. So Jennifer Lee, we've
if
seen
that's true,
other things that she's done. We've seen other things that she's had her Mickey paws in, and we'll leave those things alone. But for this, her name is at the top. And when you are in charge, or a manager, or a supervisor, or a boss, or an owner, you have to be responsible for the things that take place in the company. Well, she was responsible for this movie, clearly, so she is responsible for the changes and everything that happened. It cannot be blamed on anyone else because her name is number one under story. And she kept posting herself as being the one who didn't want women being looked up as evil and
Or
mean.
fighting each other.
And
yeah.
it's like, what century are you living
Oh
in?
my gosh. We want female
Women
villains.
are, exactly, and they're diverse and varied. They're like onions that have layers like
Right.
Shrek. And I don't want to see all in one type of woman. We are women. We want to see varied and diverse women represented.
So-
and unfortunately, she screwed that up here. So
Yeah.
our hope is, and it's not really a big hope because we know this, that they will remake this movie and they will use all the original concepts and give us
An alternate version.
all the movie that we deserve to have.
Yeah, because you got so
And
many
we
people
want it.
online making Animax, fan art, rewrites. There's a full-length remake movie being made by fans right now. So yes.
And too bad for you guys that want this to go away. We can guarantee you that this concept art and these views are not going away anytime soon. You are in for a long ride.
Yep, you and
This
Disney.
is not Encanto, where 6 months later everyone was done with Bruno. And that's too bad because Bruno was awesome.
Right.
But this is 6 months here, and it hasn't gone away.
Right, and it's on
not
Disney
gonna go
Plus.
anytime soon. And the summer is coming, so you better believe there's going to be a lot of stuff for the summer, all the way into the fall. I'm going to predict it'll be over a year before this dies down, if it does then. So I'm sorry for all of you who don't like the concept. You have my condolences because the concept art and the people who love it are here to stay.
Yep, pretty much.
And for those of you who do like the movie, I'm really glad you do sincerely. But for me, and I think for Rascal, and for people who love the original concepts, we just wanted more. We didn't want mediocre.
Yeah.
We didn't want okay. We didn't want passable. We didn't
Exactly.
want a box office movie that was only made for simplify.
And celebrating your brand more than your legacy.
And for merchandising. And that, unfortunately, is what we got.
Yeah.
So,
If you haven't already, subscribe for updates, looking for your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation, including probably more Wish stuff at some point.
and thank you for staying with us through this entire podcast. We appreciate you so much. Please feel free to share it on social media in your community tab with others. If they're like you who love the Wish concept, it helps our channel a lot, and we appreciate you so much. Unlike Disney, you are a special.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.